Hello, this is Sherline of Kathanika. The story I have for you is a tale from Africa. It is called The Fool of the King. Long ago, there lived a king called Oba Oduduwa. Oba Oduduwa was a learned king with a generous sense of wit and humor. Oba Oduduwa had a great taste for art and culture. At the court of the Oba flocked writers, poets, and musicians from all around the world. Oba Oduduwa liked to hear stories, listen to poems, and appreciate music. Oba Oduduwa himself had a great many learned men and women, pundits in specialized subjects in attendance at his court. But there was one man who the Oba liked better than the others. His name was Mahmud. Mahmud, round and plump, was the court jester. Mahmud kept the Oba and his court entertained. Mahmud was clever. He knew many tricks, sang funny songs, and danced as well. He could make the Oba laugh any time. And all the people called him Mahmud, the fool of the Oba, or Mahmud, the fool of the king. Mahmud was a simple man who had just one little weakness: food. The crispy kuli kuli, the crunchy chin chin, and the soft, deliciously sweet yovodoko. Ah! Mahmud thought of food all the time. Mahmud loved food, and at the Oba's palace there was plenty of it. And this was precisely the one thing that Oba Oduduwa did not like in Mahmud. The Oba thought that Mahmud ate very much. He was of the opinion that Mahmud ate from morning until night. One afternoon, the Oba was having his lunch when he happened to notice Mahmud sitting further down the table, gluttonously gobbling food. The Oba watched fascinated as Mahmud stuffed his mouth full with not one, not two, but 3 akara kose, the crunchy fritters made from black-eyed beans. The Oba thought, "Oh my goodness, my poor Mahmud will die soon if he eats so much." The Oba decided that he must do something about it. The Oba called together all his ministers and servants and said, "Now listen to me. For one day, you must not give Mahmud anything to eat. Do not give him wine, nor fruit, nor meat. Do not give him even a piece of abolo bread. He must not sit at my table. He must not have anything to eat the whole day." "Oh yes, my Oba, that is right. Mahmud is getting too fat," agreed one of the ministers. The next day, Mahmud entered the royal dining hall in a cheerful mood. Mahmud was eagerly looking forward to the meal at the Oba's table. It was the day they served the yovodoko that melted in the mouth, and kobi angwamo, Mahmud's favorite food. Imagine Mahmud's horror when he entered the dining hall and could not find his chair in the usual place at the Oba's table. In fact, he could not find his chair at all. Everyone was going about their daily routine. The Oba and his other ministers were in their respective chairs at the table. Mahmud the jester went to the wall and stood there. Mahmud thought, "I shall wait. Soon the servants will bring me food and drink." The time to dine arrived. Everyone settled in their chairs, and the servants entered the great dining hall carrying platters and platters full of delicious hot food. Mahmud the court jester looked on eagerly. His mouth watered as 100 aromas wafted into the air and made their way down his nostrils. Mahmud the court jester watched as one course of food disappeared from the plates and the next served, but nobody paid any attention to Mahmud. Mahmud tried hard to make eye contact with the waiters, but they did not look his way. Poor, miserable Mahmud. The servants did not bring him anything. The servants did not even ask him for any food, because they were afraid of the Oba, the king. If a man makes the Oba angry, that man will die. The servants knew this. Mahmud the jester's eyes eagerly followed all the servants as they brought in food. Then one of the servants, carrying a big basket full of abolo bread, passed in front of Mahmud, and a tiny little piece of the abolo bread fell off the loaded basket. Mahmud looked around. He saw everyone was busy eating. He quietly bent down, picked up the piece of abolo bread and quickly put it into his pocket. Now I have something to eat, he thought. I shall eat it when the Oba is not looking at me. When breakfast was over, the Oba and his ministers headed to the royal court. Poets read their poems, musicians created masterful pieces of music, and the dancing girls began their enchanting dances. The Oba is watching the dancing girls, thought Mahmud. I shall eat my piece of bread. But the Oba was watching Mahmud all the time. Unknown to Mahmud the jester, the Oba had seen him pick up the piece of abolo bread and put it in his pocket. When he saw that Mahmud was trying to retrieve it, he asked the musicians to stop and addressed the jester. Mahmud, I hear that you have a donkey that appears to be of good breed. Where did you get it? Mahmud quickly pushed the piece of bread back into his pocket. I bought it in Tripoli, my Oba, answered Mahmud. Oh, I see, nodded the Oba. The musicians resumed playing their instruments and the girls began dancing. Mahmud the jester was miserable. All that Mahmud wanted was to eat his piece of abolo bread. He tried once more. He reached into his pocket, but the Oba called out to him again. Mahmud, what color is your donkey? Mahmud pushed the piece of bread in his pocket quickly and answered, Grey, my lord. Ah, such a lovely color. You must bring the donkey over for me to inspect, said the Oba. Sure, said Mahmud dismally. Mahmud waited patiently until the Oba seemed to be busy, and once again he tried to eat the piece of abolo bread. But the Oba suddenly called out, Mahmud, how much did you pay for your donkey in Tripoli? Mahmud put the piece of bread in his pocket yet again and answered, 16 gold coins, my lord. The Oba went on like this all day long. Mahmud was terribly upset and puzzled. By dinner time, poor Mahmud was very hungry. His stomach rumbled and grumbled. Mahmud was not allowed a seat at any of the meals. When the dinner feast was over, Mahmud ran to the kitchen. But alas, the kitchen was locked, and Mahmud had only his small piece of abolo bread to eat. This was turning out to be Mahmud's most terrible day. Whenever Mahmud tried to eat his piece of abolo bread, the Oba always asked him a question. Mahmud could hardly stand. He was so hungry and he was so very tired. As soon as the court was adjourned for the day, Mahmud rushed to the safety of his room. He eagerly got himself a glass of water, dipped his precious piece of abolo bread in the water and ate it up. Then Mahmud drank some of the water and lay down to sleep. It was a quiet night, but Mahmud could not sleep. Mahmud's tummy growled. Visions of delicious food haunted him. Mahmud tossed and turned from side to side. Mahmud the jester was very hungry. Finally, at 10 o'clock in the night, Mahmud ran to the Oba's bedroom. He knocked at the door. The Oba had just laid down to sleep after a long day. He was annoyed and asked angrily, "Who is knocking at my door so late?" "Oh, my Oba, it is me, Mahmud," said Mahmud. "I'm sorry to disturb you, but I must tell you, I did not buy my donkey in Tripoli, but in Benghazi." "Oh, all right." The king thanked Mahmud and told him to go away. After a few minutes, there was a knock on the door again. "What is it?" shouted the irritated Oba. "Your Majesty, my donkey. It is brown, not grey." "Oh, go away, Mahmud. I want to get some sleep," said the Oba. A few minutes later, Mahmud knocked the door once again. "Oh, my lord, but I told you a lie this afternoon. I did not buy that donkey for 16 gold coins. I paid 20 gold coins." "Oh, you fool!" cried the king. "I shall cut off your head for your silly tales about the donkey and throw your body to the jackals." Mahmud listened to the Oba and smiled. "Oh, yes, your Majesty, I know that. But before I die, may I request a last wish? Only one wish." "What is your last wish?" asked the Oba. "My last wish is to have a good dinner." The Oba understood everything. His face lit up. He laughed and told his servants to bring in the best food into his room. The Oba himself sat down at the table with Mahmud. They ate and laughed until morning came. After that, Mahmud never went without food, and he was always happy. And that was the story of the Fool of the King. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to share the story with your friends and get them to subscribe to our channel too. Bye-bye.